Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Monica McKinney, and I am the Director of Graduate Programs here at Meredith College, as well as a faculty member here in the Department of Education. As we come together this evening to celebrate academic excellence, it is with great joy that on behalf of the School of Education, Health, and Human Sciences, the John E. Weems Graduate School, and Meredith College, that I welcome friends, family members, and of course our graduates eligible for the Master of Arts in Teaching degree. The Master's Hood is a special part of the academic regalia that denotes scholarly and professional achievements. And this hooding ceremony is a special time of celebration and recognition of our master students and their journey. It is a way to signify their success in completing their graduate program. It adds to the graduate experience by making it possible for us to focus just on our advanced degree candidates and their accomplishments. It allows all of us a chance to witness the ceremonial hooding of each graduate student in a more intimate setting. At this time, let me recognize the faculty and staff who have taught, advised, mentored, and supported our master's candidates. Please stand and remain standing as I call your names. Dr. Heather Bauer, Head of the Department of Education. Dr. Jennifer Olson. Dr. Courtney George, Director of Graduate Programs in Education. Dr. Julie Schrock. Dr. Cindy Morton-Rose. And Dr. C.C. Toole. I would also like to acknowledge, thank you all very much. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge any Department of Education staff that are here today. I know that Tyler Ellis and Donna Coker have been working hard to make this a special event for all of us. And they're probably not in here right now because they're busy out there doing their thing, but we owe them a debt of gratitude as well. All right, let us also recognize all of the family, friends, peers, mentors who have played a part in this educational journey. Thanks to all of you for your unwavering support. Let's give yourselves a round. Faculty in the Education Department have had the pleasure of observing your collective talents unfold throughout your program of study. And we want each of you to know how very proud of you we are. You have distinguished yourselves through academic challenge, through service, and leadership. Everyone here has met and overcome obstacles. You have earned this degree, this hood, and this moment. We applaud the energy, enthusiasm, commitment, and contributions you have already made and will continue to make as you head toward new paths and meet new challenges in the future. Today is a good day, one of those milestone days when we are invited to pause from our routines and take note of a special moment. A time to slow down and reflect on the interests and passions that have led us to this place. A time to remember the people we love, the journey we have taken thus far, and those who have supported us along the way. There is a world out there in need of your help and service. Students and families whose lives you can positively impact through your wisdom and advocacy. I wish you all the best as your journey continues. I would now like to recognize Kirsten Lindgren, Master of Arts in Teaching ESL, who will provide our invocation.
Good evening, everyone. I'm honored to be here with you as a fellow graduate, and I'd like to congratulate my fellow graduates on this accomplishment. I'm so proud of us. As we reflect on the significance of this day, I'd like to share some wishes I hold for us. I wish us an open mind as we dive into the teaching profession. I wish us patience and perseverance as we learn and grow as educators. I wish us a sense of humor because boy, oh boy, are we gonna need it. And most of all, I wish us a sense of gratitude. Gratitude for our classmates who have learned alongside us. Gratitude for our professors who filled us with knowledge and ideas and who will continue to be there for us as our cheerleaders. Gratitude for our school communities where we will continue to learn how to do this most impactful work. And, maybe most importantly, gratitude for our loved ones who have supported us in so many ways. I wish for all of us that we take the encouragement and care given to us by our friends, our family, mentors, and colleagues as an example of how we too can endeavor to be caretakers in our communities as we embark on this new adventure as educators. Thank you. Tony.
My name is Tonya Shaftdale. I'm a little taller than the rest of these folks. Yeah, all right. This is like when you're trying to get your slides set up in front of a classroom of 7th graders. You know, I really wanted to give the speech at my high school graduation, but my principal said no. And I asked a lot of times, and my principal said no a lot of times, but now that I am here in front of you and giving a speech, I have actually realized how hard it is to give a speech to a bunch of people, and it makes me wonder if Mr. Daly was really just looking out for me. If you care to know, when I realized how hard it was to write a speech was when I sat down this week and tried to write a speech and realized I didn't have anything to say to you. No real wisdom to offer anybody in this room that they didn't surely already have. Which is kind of ironic because my full-time job is to stand in front of a group of people and tell them things that they need to learn. But really, if anything, I think we would probably learn more tonight if I just developed a list of thoughtful questions and had you turn and talk with a partner about what it means to be an educator. And that generally works for me in the day-to-day life of a classroom teacher. In fact, that's probably one of my biggest lessons over my 7 years in the classroom is that everyone in the room starts learning more the moment that I stop talking. If I had known when I went into education that that was the case, I don't know if I would have chosen this career, because that is why most of us become educators. We're all certain that we have something to say, that everyone else needs to listen to. But my classmates could tell you, I do love the sound of my own voice. Over the past year, especially when it comes to recounting how ridiculous my school, job, and most of all, my students are. I imagine some parents in the room could relate to that. There's just a love for your kids that runs so deep that all you want to do is tell embarrassing stories about them. If I'm honest, I didn't actually mean to become an educator. I have like a lot of educators in my family, cousins, siblings, great aunts. In fact, both of my grandmothers were kindergarten teachers, and my grandfather was a high school teacher. Being an educator in America, as my students might say, is not it. We've all read the news. If you searched up school scandals, there is someone out there who's doing my job right now and probably messing up big time on a big screen. And I knew for sure that teaching was not for me. When I was in 7th grade, I asked my 7th grade teacher if she was a masochist, because only someone who liked punishment would choose to spend their day with 7th graders. Now there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, what 7th grader uses the word masochist in a sentence? Second of all, Miss Melton probably looked at me and was like, get out of my face, I need to teach the kids who aren't gonna pass their EOGs. But here we are tonight, getting my hood in teaching. I myself am a 7th grade English teacher. You really can't make this stuff up. You know, some educators have this really special ability for remembering the victory moments in their career. And if they were in my shoes right now, they would tell you a heart-wrenching story about a kid who was on the edge, who came to their classroom door, who they talked off the edge, and you're crying, and she's enrolling in Meredith's teacher prep program, and we're all here. And I sat down to write the speech and realized I don't actually have that many of those in my back pocket. But I could tell you a story about last Tuesday morning when I was walking down the hall and saw a substitute run out of the classroom yelling, "Help! Someone help! There's a fight!" Or 1 or 2 hours later last Tuesday morning when I broke up another fight that took 6 adults to end. I could also tell you about the time I was a long-term sub in a preschool and cleaned a blowout diaper off of every square foot of a very small bathroom and thought to myself, I have got to get a new job. I don't know where those educators get their stories from. Kind of feels like their Hallmark channel and I'm on TV, and I don't know what that does for me up here. The first time I tried to write this speech, it came out very, very speech-like. Lots of platitudes about following your dreams, believing that what you do matters. It was very inspirational and very boring. So I sat down and I rewrote it last night. And it took me a very long time before I realized what I did want to say to everyone tonight. But I finally did. So, my speech officially starts now. This is what I actually want to say to everyone. First, I am so glad to be done with graduate school. Second, our public education system really could use some help right now. And third, I'm really glad that I'm a teacher. I love being a teacher. It's messy, and it's silly, and every day there's something new and ridiculous that I deal with in my job. But somebody's got to do this job, and I think that our kids really deserve to learn something, because learning, I think, is the coolest thing ever. A couple of days ago in my class, we were learning about how authors use tone to communicate characters' emotions, which is pretty standard fare for middle school language arts. And my kids were really understanding it. And they were getting up out of their seats to talk to each other about it, and they were writing their own silly examples of what it would sound like to confess your love in a heartbroken tone, or in a devastated tone, or in a terrified tone. And our classroom was so full of laughter and learning and community, and it was the best feeling in the whole world. And I wish that every single person in this room could experience how much fun it is to be in a classroom full of 7th grade students really learning something. It's so magical. And we get to do that. We get to be the ones who people send their kids to, who get to know them and all their quirks, and there are some really quirky kids out there. And we watch them transform and grow day to day. And even in the midst of the mess that public education is, I still feel so lucky to get to do that every day. And I know that the educators sitting before me, sitting beside me, feel the exact same way. In so many ways, being a public educator in North Carolina is to eat a big slice of humble pie for lunch every single day. But in so many others, it is also the greatest honor. And so tonight, I guess in a weird way, I would just say thank you. Thank you to my classmates for learning alongside me. Thank you to our professors. I know I speak for my classmates when I say thank you to you for shaping us to be educators. Thank you to all of you in this room who have somehow gotten us through every late night. Thank you to all the people who still put their trust in education. We are so grateful for you.
At this time, we're moving into the recognition portion of our program. And to begin that, we have 2 awards to present tonight. The first is the North Carolina Science Teacher Association Award. And it's given to one student teacher each year who shows excellence in teaching science during their internship. This teaching must emphasize an inquiry-based approach to teaching. This year's recipient's nominator breathes science. No matter what she is teaching, she finds a science connection. Even her classroom theme and her classroom management system is based on real-world science. When there's an opportunity to embrace science in the real world, she captures it. As evidenced by her approach to the eclipse, where her 5th graders learned the science and the world mythology connected to the event. It is my pleasure to announce our recipient who will go on to compete for the State Science Teacher of the Year, and that's Ms. Heather Poisson. Our last award this evening is the Outstanding Graduate Student in Education. And this award is given to a student who shows exceptional ability in the realms of academics, leadership, and professionalism. This year's recipient exemplifies all 3 areas. She approached every one of her classes with a deep sense of intellectual curiosity, grappling with new concepts and applying them immediately to her teaching. While being incredibly pragmatic, she was also the first in the classroom to rally her peers, encouraging them and all pushing us all forward. Finally, she's a consummate professional, supporting her students, their families, and her colleagues, while holding us all to the same high standard she holds herself. At this time, it is my pleasure to recognize Kerstin Lindgren as this year's Outstanding Graduate. And now it's our pleasure to formally recognize and hood each of our graduates. Hooding is a long-standing academic tradition wherein a student's advisor places the hood around the neck of the graduate, symbolizing both their knowledge in the field and a formal welcome to our profession. As your name is called, please step forward this direction and move towards the block where your advisor will place your hood. Families, you have multiple photo opportunities. All right, so there'll be a moment with their advisor, and then they'll step over and also get their diploma cover. Earning a Master's of Arts in Teaching Elementary. Heather Christine Pope. Nope, Poisson. Let me try that again. Heather Christine Poisson. Megan Emily Pope. Earning a Master of Arts in Teaching English as a Second Language, Chris Kinzer Champ. Amanda Dominga Duran. Kirsten Annette Lindgren. Tonya Natalie Shafto. Earning a Master of Arts in Teaching Special Education. Taylor Bix Luciano. Even in the midst of our celebrating, we are also mourning the loss of a colleague and a student. As many have remarked, to know her is to love her. And just as we love her, she loved us and her students fiercely. The greatest encourager and cheerleader in any classroom, whether the students were 5 or 25, or the professor whose name and age will remain silent. We will continue that legacy of loving our students and our colleagues in her stead. And so this evening, please join me in a moment of celebration for our friend and our colleague, Ms. Lahoma Vanessa Fields. Friends, you made it. It is an absolute delight to see you all sitting here this evening. I taught many of you in your very first class in the MAT program, and I taught all of you in your very last class. And for the first time tonight, I'm gonna actually get to stick to my plan. It has been the privilege of a lifetime to teach this particular cohort. To say you have grown would be a mastery of understatement. Each of you entered this program as students, bright and shiny and full of optimism. You are going to change the world as teachers, and you are going to do it all tomorrow. Thank you very much. Some of you were ready to burn the whole system down. Some of you love school so much, you couldn't imagine that there were students who didn't. All of you met a student or a colleague along the way that shook your beliefs and shook you to the core. It made you dig a little deeper into what you believed and why, and it made you stand a little stronger. At some point, each of you questioned whether you were going to make it, and if you really wanted to. But look at you now. You persevered. Every day you showed up. You put in the work. You prepped, you planned, and you reflected. You taught students of all ages how to share, be patient, play games, and even managed to get in some math and reading. You worked with families and colleagues and stood your ground when it mattered. You became teachers. Outside of the classrooms, you weathered and are weathering cultural storms. More and more lands on the plates of teachers. You described the overwhelm of trying to juggle mandates and technology and curriculum while prioritizing developing whole humans and building relationships, all while outsiders tell you what you should be doing. Yet, you pick up that plate and you pick your battles. You smile. You see all the piles of stuff, but I've watched you filter through it to focus on what's most important, our students. Did you catch that one? Our. You see, today is an act of great bravery and optimism. Today, you go from being our students to being our colleagues. You enter this profession with us as teachers. You have all the knowledge and skills you need to be successful in whatever classroom you walk into. And you still have us. Just as we have watched you become teachers, we want to support you as you continue this work with us for our kids. I also want to remind you that you can't pour from an empty cup in this field. Remember, it is necessary that there is life outside of your classroom. Find what brings you joy and chase it. I also want to remind you it's perfectly acceptable and normal to be tired. I remember very vividly a moment from my early teaching career when I called my mom exhausted, pouring from an empty cup that was cracked, and I wasn't sure if I could keep going. Her response, "But are you good tired?" You see, growing up, we listened to a lot of folk music in my house, and one of our favorite musicians was Harry Chapin. On one of his albums, he told the story of his grandfather, and his grandfather said, "I was a painter." He died when he was 88, and he was looking at Harry and said, "Harry, there's two kinds of tired. There's good tired, and there's bad tired." He said, ironically enough, bad tired can be a day that you won, but you won other people's battles. You lived other people's days, other people's agendas, other people's dreams. And when it's all over, there was very little you in there. And when you hit the hay at night, somehow you toss and turn. You don't settle easy. It's that good tired, ironically enough, can be a day that you lost. But you don't even have to tell yourself, because you knew you fought your battles. You chased your dreams, you lived your days. And when you hit the hay at night, you settle easy. You sleep the sleep of the just, and you can say, take me away. I typed out that passage that night and I taped it to my desk. It still hangs on the bulletin board above my desk as a reminder to stay focused on the end goal and being good tired. I can't promise you that every day will be easy, or every kid will learn all the things or even like you, or that your principal will think you walk on water, but we do. What I can promise you is we need you. Our kiddos need you. You are brave enough and optimistic enough to do the next hard, right thing. And it's so worth it. And at the end of the day, I hope you are good. Congratulations, and thank you. At this point, we will recess out. Families, you have two choices. We're going to lead our graduates back around for a group picture. If you'd like to take that, you're welcome to stay. If you're quite tired of these chairs, after we process out, you're welcome to go on out in the lobby and start the reception, and your graduate will join you shortly.